What's up, ladies and gents? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys, once again, another echoey edition of Behind the Bar Reviews for One Piece! One Piece chapter 982. There's some things to talk about in this chapter, but we're just going to get right through it because there's a few things that I'm just kind of a little like, why didn't I see it before? I kind of feel stupid. And then there's the other side of me that's just kind of like, okay, there's something that I think a lot of the fan base is going to discuss. Usually by this time I have time to watch a couple people's reviews like Roger's Base or Teching or stuff. But it was kind of a full day, so I haven't actually had a chance to see what anybody thought on Twitter, on Discord, on anything about the latest chapters. So this is just going to be in my own initial thoughts. Maybe somebody already has a quick answer to this or something. But either way, here, just first and foremost, I'm really liking Black Maria. I think she's probably my favorite Topiropo already. And okay, female, right? Yeah, okay. Mine's at a gutters for a moment. I just like her. She's just like, once again, she's not a giant, so what is she? Is it a result of a devil fruit? Is it not? It's the same like how is Kaido and Big Mom as large as they are? They're not true giants, so is this something like that? There's no rhyme or reason as to why Black Maria is basically the size of Kaido. And appropriately, here at the very beginning of this chapter, we see her hanging off of Kaido, being like, oh, don't worry about your son. The other Topiropo are scouring all over. Why would I bother with that? It's like, she's fine she doesn't seem to not like Who's Who or Sasaki or anybody. She doesn't seem like she cares about becoming a calamity. By the looks of it, she's the woman closest to Kaido in some respects, or at least, allows Kaido's fine with her hanging off of his arm and sitting next to him sort of idea. So apparently Kaido's cool with it. So Black Maria seems to have a different outlook, so to speak, rather than some of the other Topiropo who went off to go find Yamato and stuff. And Kaido even berates her at first and says, you're supposed to be out there searching for my son. And she's like, oh, the others can find, let's just enjoy ourselves for the evening, Kaido-sama, that kind of deal. And he just like, wow, of course, I have my sake. It's a party, it's a celebration. Let's drink and drink and drink. And Orochi's there, and they're talking, and they're all having a good time. Here's where my first little instance comes up, where I can't confirm this, but I feel like this is the big thing that Kaido wanted from the Kozuki clan. The remnants of the Kozuki clan and the information they would hold is about Laugh Tale. It's even said in this chapter. Am I the only one who noticed this, or do I feel stupid? Because I remember I didn't pick up on that when we were all wondering, and I saw a lot of other people wondering, but maybe people figured it out before this chapter, and I just, haven't had my, hand on the pulse of the anime community, but it just feels like, okay, we have Kaido, who, there's a lingering question I have for the remnants of the Kozuki clan, sort of idea. He needs to know. And it's just, he wanted to know if Odin told him any details about Laugh Tale. Odin is dead, so the only people that Odin might have told that are still living, and even Kaido's not exactly going to go looking for someone like Rayleigh, unprepared, as Garp said the same thing. It's like, we're not going to try to fight two legends at the same time. Like, that'd be foolish. Like, we'd have to literally try to Buster Call, but Buster Call 2.0, because only having one admiral sent is not going to be able to take in the Dark King. So even Kaido realizes that, and would Rayleigh even speak? He's hoping to crush weaker-minded people that Odin might have told, the Red Scabbards, his son, his daughter. He might have actually imparted information to his most trusted subordinates, advisors, etc. So he thinks if he can find them and get a hold of them, then they'll have that information. But it sounds like Kaido, it was revealed that Kanjuro was the spy and everything, and Kaido's like, oh, well, if Kanjuro, he played his part really well for the last, over 20 years now, I guess he never really did tell them anything. And it doesn't seem, because the moment after this, Kanjuro shows up and drops Momonosuke, who he did beat down. I guess he probably tried to, grab that dagger, that knife sort of idea. He tried to get himself free by the sounds of it. He cut his ropes and tried to escape. So I had to kind of beat him, And this is where I like Black Maria. Black Maria's like, oh, look at what you did to this poor little boy. And I know she's probably got her evil side and stuff like that, but if you remember when Boa Hancock was first introduced, and Boa Hancock is still not a very nice person, everyone can have a different backstory. Like right now, two people, well, in the Topiropo, we have X-Drake, who's actually not a bad guy, who's actually working for likely Garp or Sengoku under the code name of Sword. So he's actually putting his life on the line for all this stuff. He's not. So it's entirely possible that Black Maria was saved by Kaido, or she, treated like a freak for her size or something like that for many years. There could be a whole backstory with her similar to something like Hancock, where, yeah, she's doing bad things now, but maybe she's not that bad a person. She's not like, oh, yes, this insolent insect of a little boy is part of the Kazuki clan. She's like, oh, no, look at what you did to the poor. It's like, and Orochi's like, this is the enemy leader. This is the one that we need to crucify and kill. And Black Maria's like, oh, what did you do? What did you do to this poor little boy? And puts Momonosuke on her lap and everything once Kanjuro shows up. The rest of it, we kind of just get the summary of the report. Kanjuro finally does make his way and lets them know, okay, people have docked, we have a problem, they're in power, they're ready to go. Doesn't seem to mention about Kyoshiro right off the bat, but I assume we got the entire details, we just weren't shown it. It was like, let's move this pace along. Kanjuro gives his report, says people are there. I mean, Orochi, being the cowardly Wario-looking character that he is sitting there shaking like, I don't want platitudes. I don't want reassurances. I want all of them dead at my feet. I want to see the bodies. I want everybody dead because I'm actually a weak-willed piece of shit who just happened to be, first off, used by the Kurozumi clan to get revenge as kind of the figurehead, and then was protected and then just got to act the way he did because, once again, reasons. But he's actually not a strong-willed person. He's absolutely terrified and all this stuff, right? So it's very interesting here because we get that from Orochi and Fukujokoju, whatever, the Oniwaban leader. He shows up and explains, oh, well, yeah, but, I mean, that's not new information to us. He's like, what? How could you not have told me? He goes, relax. We got Queen out there taking care of him. They're in the middle of our entire army, drunk as they might be. But Eustace Kid, Killer, Zoro and Luffy, they're all there. They're all fighting. But Queen's taking care of it. Don't worry about it. We're having constant details. We know what's going on. Like, relax, sort of idea. But he can't relax. He's shaking. Black Maria offers to pour him a drink. And he's just shaking and such, and then that's when he takes Momonosuke from Black Maria and says, give me that little boy. And she seems a little shocked, like I wish you wouldn't. And he decides that he's going to, bring me, wood and oil sort of idea. He's going to crucify Momonosuke and set him as a pillar up there, sort of like he did to Yasue. He's going to make a spectacle out of the fact that the last of the Kazuki clan shall now be killed, and here is your great leader and the last vestige of hope, and I'm going to make a grand spectacle out of it while I butcher this little boy. That's a little harsh. Even Kaido is a little disappointed. I guess he didn't really, whether he believed in the time travel or not is kind of irrelevant, but what he was hoping was for someone as great as Odin, because Kaido, in his own twisted villainous sense, still had a lot of respect for Odin. So that being said, he was hoping, I guess, for a great battle or some great rebellion led by a powerful warrior, and he's not getting that satisfaction. He's like he's not worthy of the name, sort of thing. And it's kind of funny, too, because clearly Orochi believes that, along with Lady Toki, that Hiyori must have died in the fire, even though her body was never recovered, because he claims here, this is the enemy leader, this is the last of the Kozukis. It's like, Hiyori's still out there. You do know that. And Kanjuro, I assume, was informed of Hiyori being alive and being, the courtesan the entire time and all this fun jazz. Kanjuro was part of this right up until they left for Onigashima. So I'm under the impression that he knows. So I wonder if Orochi will be informed or if Kanjuro will forget to mention that little detail, because there is a lot more going on right now of more pressing importance than Hiyori, who's not even going to be on the island. Like right now we got to focus on the army and Kinemon and the Straw Hats and the people that right now are fighting, the Red Scabbards. They need to be dealt with first and foremost. Then we can realize the other details afterwards. But so whether Orochi found out or not is relevant, but the way he talks about it is that he still doesn't realize that Hiyori is alive. So that's another big thing. There's a lot to unpack in this chapter. There really is. But after this, we jump over to the Red Scabbards, or the most of the Red Scabbards that are in Law's submarine. Now here's where my second issue kind of comes into play. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because once again, isolation is a thing. Wano is pretty much a representation of Japan before they finally opened their borders, sort of idea. And Wano's borders have still not opened. So I don't know how people are going to feel about this. I'm a little I think it could have been explained a little bit better. But then again, like, Izo was on the crew. All right, let's just get into this. So we get the Red Scabbards on the submarine. They're talking through a Dendemushi, what have you, with Law and stuff, with Nekomamushi, and Inarashi's like, you stupid cat, you're late, like the battle's happening right now. He's like, we made it in time, didn't we? So don't worry about it. And they're kind of explaining how the Nekomamushi's crew, I mean, Marco can fly, but the bulk of Nekomamushi's crew is going to have to basically go in the exact same way that the Straw Hats and everybody did. They're going to have to hit the main port of Onigashima, because just the way the tides work will not allow, and the sea currents will not allow anybody to actually go around back. Law's submarine is the one exception, because it's a submarine. So they discuss that. Here's where the big thing comes up. We have Nekomamushi. The note that the information he wanted to give Luffy was simply, I guess Marco had said, it's very odd. I feel like we're missing something here. Maybe we'll get a little more detail, but Marco pretty much told Nekomamushi that no. He didn't. Well, he did. I didn't reread it, so maybe I'm missing that. But we were all under the impression that Marco kind of turned down Nekomamushi and said, no, I can't leave because Whitebeard's Island, blah, blah, blah. But the note he gave literally during that meeting was, I might be a little late, but I'm going to be there. You don't think, I mean, maybe Oda was trying to save up the hype a little bit to say, oh yeah, Marco's coming to Wano, and that was the whole thing. But it feels like that's not the way he would have talked. He should have been like, okay, I need to do a little bit of preparation, but I'll be there, but you go on ahead. We didn't get that information during the conversation with Nekomamushi, so it feels a little strange that, and especially the note just said, I might be a little late, but I'll be there to help, sort of idea, help Ace's brother. So, here's the thing. I got a little problem with what Marco says after this. We still don't see Izo fully. He's in silhouette. I believe he's the one talking to Marco here. And simply says, like, what are you doing here, sort of thing. And he said, look, I love Odin, but, news does not travel outside of Wano. So we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know, likely by the sounds of it, I think Oda's trying to pass this off. I hope he handles this better by the end of the arc, and we get kind of a wrap up and Marco and Izo talk, or somebody explains what they thought was going on. Because, Izo probably would have tried to return to his homeland at some point, but clearly he never did and was never worried about it for the last 20 years by the looks of it. And same with Marco. It sounds like they're kind of trying to excuse the fact that they had no information. I find that kind of hard to believe that after 20 years, like, sure, if this was 5 years, Wano's an isolated country, we saw in the flashback that Whitebeard was like, you want to leave me for Roger, then fine, get going, get off, like, you're no brother of mine anymore, that's just Whitebeard's attitude. Of course, he still loved Odin, but Whitebeard also has his pride. He wasn't going to go, he doesn't check up on children who leave the crew, sort of idea. So, or brothers in this case. And he didn't like Wano at all, if we recall, all the face, like, I want to go to Wano, and stuff like that. So, Whitebeard probably had zero desire to ever go back to Wano. Might not have known what actually transpired with Odin. For all he knew, Odin was still, like, who would have told Whitebeard in the first place that Odin after, Roger's execution and stuff. How is he to know? And you could make the argument that yes, he was a Yonko and everything. I just feel like this is going to be the main talking point of this chapter for a lot of people in the community. So that's why I'm trying to just add up all the points here. So it makes total sense that Whitebeard would have no desire to go back to Wano. Plus, he's got a lot of other things with his responsibilities as a Yonko. He can't exactly travel around as he once did in that way within his own territories and such. But once again, if that's part of Kaido's territory, but if he knew it was part of Kaido's territory, you'd think he would have. See, it's such a very odd circumstance that it just seems like Whitebeard just didn't really care to check up on Oden. They never heard any news out of there, which is fair. The borders are still closed from Wano, and if you never physically went there, how would you have any information? You never hear from Oden. Well, how does he get news out of Wano? How did they know Oden's not traveling the seas and he ever went back to Wano? Where would they have gotten this information? So, they might have been a little smarter about it, but I think it was it might have been in the back of their minds, but of course Whitebeard was probably doing other stuff at the time, and it's just kind of like he didn't hear bad news, so he just figured because he didn't hear any news, none of them knew anything that was going on in Wano, because you'd figure, and I brought this up in the previous chapter reviews and stuff, when we were in the flashback, I was like, where's Rayleigh? Where's the rest of the Roger Pirates? Where's Whitebeard? If they knew that this was going on in Wano, they would be there. They'd be like, Kaido, get the hell out. You imagine Rayleigh and the rest of the Roger Pirates teaming up with Whitebeard's crew? Kaido would get his ass kicked. The impossible monster who can't be killed. Well, he's been defeated multiple times. He would have just beat his ass, kicked his ass out of Wano. That's what would have happened. But that never really did happen. So why? Marco tries to explain it away here. My issue with that is, it's not that that's kind of a lazy writing, like just to excuse away why Whitebeard never went to war with Kaido over Wano to go save Oden before those 5 years where he was dancing as a fool of a lord. You'd think Whitebeard would have checked up, or he would have checked up 5 years after and found out Oden had been killed by Kaido. It seems like Whitebeard never even knew Oden was dead. So, that's just a little odd. So the way they're trying to pass it off, the way Oda's trying to explain it away in this chapter, just say, well, we never heard any news. It's like, I guess it's within Whitebeard's character to do that. My problem is that Ace went to Wano. Because Ace fashioned the hat for Oris Jr. And he met Tama. And he knew about the state of Wano from Tama. So if Ace was there, you don't think nobody on the crew, when he came back, because this was before his search for Blackbeard, remember, because he came back, he had to give the hat to Oris Jr. So, that means Ace was on Wano, knew about the state of it, and nobody from the Whitebeard crew ever mentioned, hey, so how was Wano? How's the old place doing? Did you see Oden? He's like another son to the... he's like a brother to Whitebeard and stuff. He actually sailed with Roger, and they kind of left on, crappy terms. But you're telling me that Marco, Vista, Jozu, Whitebeard himself, no one ever brought up that, hey, you went to Wano? Well, how was the old place? That's the bigger issue here. Not that they couldn't have gotten news, and not that Whitebeard would have said, how often did he ever check in with Squardo, Whitey Bay, any of the other multiple ship captains that used to be on his crew and then they went their own separate ways? Does he talk to them on the regular? Who knows? So this is it was explainable away, though I wish it had been better detailed, but I think Oda forgot about that. Because I could explain away the other stuff. As I said, Whitebeard, he was just like, I don't need to check up on Oden. He's his own man. He can do his own stuff. If he needs help, he'll send word, sort of idea. And I'm not going back to Wano. Wano sucks, He didn't really care for Wano that much. So that part is, I can get behind. What I can't get behind is the fact that Ace went there, knew about the state of Wano, must have known that it was Yonko Kaido's territory by that point, and he didn't come back to the ship and go, "Hey, Pops, so you know that place of your friend Odin? Yeah, he's kind of dead, and the country's in poverty, and Kaido's ruling it all with an iron fist." You don't think anybody would have asked how Ace's trip was to Wano, or that Ace would have reporting in, here's what I found at Wano. So that to me is a bit of a fuck up. I don't think Oda thought that part through. So I'm hoping that he details it later and stuff, but I think I'm seeing a crack here. This isn't making a whole lot of sense, but let me know what you guys think about all this. I know I've spent the last 5-10 minutes talking about this, but I wanted to get all my thoughts out on this because it's the main talking point of the chapter, because it's kind of just a throwaway line to be like, yeah, this is why Whitebeard never showed up, and it was weak. It's a weak reason, weak excuse from the get-go, and now it's just blatantly just not, it just doesn't make actual sense. So, though Marco is here, and Izo is here, and maybe Vista or Jozu is there, who knows, either way, they're on their way now, so I guess it's still going to be awesome seeing Marco in the fight, but I don't like that throwaway line, and what do you guys think? The rest of the chapter goes on. In all honesty, that was kind of the big point. We get a fun scene with Nami and Carrot and Shinobu and stuff. Prometheus shows up, of course. Big Mom is on a rampage. Usopp and Chopper are in the tank going, hit reverse. You've seen all the memes already, before this chapter even dropped of people, just go into reverse. Dee, dee, dee. Let's back her up, back it up, sort of idea. And right now we've got Big Mom going, straw hats, and she's lunging at them, and Chopper's like, fire Usopp, fire, direct hit, woo! And it's not doing anything to Big Mom, and he's like, back up, let's get out of here, Usopp, and so Usopp and Chopper are fleeing for their lives in their little Toys R Us tank, and Big Mom's going after them, where's your captain, rawr, and stuff like that, as I said. But they're going in the opposite direction. So in actual fact, they're leading Big Mom away, further and further away from the main festivities. This is a good thing, and Kinemon even mentions this, even as frightened as they are, and this is that woman, Big Mom, they are actually doing us a huge favor. We can't lose this opportunity. Let's keep going, because they were, of course, all hidden under the water, so Big Mom's not paying attention. As I said, Nami and everyone meet up with Prometheus, and Prometheus is the one that kind of ousted them and said, I found the one who kidnapped Zeus. So it's going to be interesting if Nami is going to use Zeus against Prometheus. And it'll be very interesting with Big Mom there, because defying Big Mom with her soul right there, it's going to be a very interesting, I'm hoping for more details on that battle. That should be, kind of cool. The other parts is that Denjiro actually manages to, under the guise of Kuroshiro, manages to subdue Sasaki of the Topiropo. So that's pretty cool. They're talking like, I didn't think you were coming. They're like, yeah, don't tell anybody I'm here, blah, blah, blah. I thought he was going to kind of do a sneak past thing, but he's like, nope, chain him up and everything like that. He's like, what are you doing? Looking for Yamato, looking for Kaido's son and stuff. And so he chains him up and stuff and gags him and says, you don't know much of the history of Wano, do you? And we see the Kozuki symbol on the back of Denjiro, who, before, this dude's got a neck like Super Saiyan Goku sort of idea. Like, this neck game is Escanor tier. It's Goku level. It's just, this, like, his back muscles and his entire, we see the Kozuki clan symbol tattooed on his back, and it's just like, damn, this dude has been working out. Like, just the crane of that neck is just, and it's thick, like, wow. Like, just wow. Like, I was blown away. I was like, I'm thinking Denjiro is still like, sort of like muscular, but sort of like Kinemon or Zoro sort of idea. It's like, no, this dude's got a back the size that could carry a brick shithouse. Like, this thing is massive. I was not expecting that, like, at all. But, yeah, in the end part of the chapter, we get page 1 ulti. Some people are probably going to enjoy their little antics. I need to see what Ulti can do. What's her Devil Fruta? Clearly it's going to be a zone type, but what's she going to turn into? Is it going to be the whole kind of like the opposites thing? She's the smallest one, but she's going to turn into the T-Rex. Or is she going to actually turn into something even smaller? Is she going to be like a Velociraptor size? Is she going to be maybe like a baby Stegosaurus or something? Who knows, right? I'm assuming they're all going to be like carnivorous zones. So I'm not really sure if we're going to see things like the Triceratops or Ankylosaurus or Stegosaurus or anything like that. But maybe. I mean, they could still be super deadly, you know, like an Ankylosaurus with the tail, like whack, you know, sort of idea. But yeah, it'll be very interesting. You know, she might turn into the one with the big dome skull. I forget what that thing is called. Begins with a P, doesn't it? Anyways, it's been a while since I saw Jurassic Park. But yeah, so I'm interested to see what she's going to be. We're likely going to get her transforming here because at the end of the chapter, she lands. She wants Page One to give her a piggyback ride, and they end up basically coming face to face with Luffy, saying, "Who the hell are you? No, who the hell are you?" And that's the end of the chapter of them glaring at each other. So 282 or 282. Chapter 982 was a pretty good chapter. There was a lot to unpack in it, but once again, I'm a little deterred by the fact that the Kozuki information that Kaido wanted simply seemed to be he thought they might have info on Laugh-Tail, and I think that was the big secret that he was after, and don't know why I didn't think of that. And the other thing is the whole, I think Oda forgot that Ace went to Wano. I really do. For some reason, even though at the beginning of this arc he remembered, it just seems like too much of a throwaway line. So I'm not really good with the information as it stands, but maybe Oda will explain it away later. Who knows? Maybe there was a plan in place. Maybe Izo will be the info dumper. Something like that. Clearly, they're still leaving him in silhouette for some reason. So it'll be curious to see when he shows up, what he looks like. Maybe he's got a big scar now or something like that. Who knows? And maybe he's the eye patch pirate we've all been waiting for. Who knows? But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the chapter. Hope you enjoyed the review. Like, comment, and subscribe. I apologize once again for the audio. It'll be this way basically until I get some flooring in, and that's not happening for, you know, a few weeks. So just gonna have to grin and bear it. I try to fix the audio as best I can in the editor, so hopefully it's bearable. If not, if it's really getting that bad, let me know in the comments, and I'll just have to forget behind the bar reviews for now and just do them upstairs how I do most of my other videos for the time being. But anyways, thanks guys so much. We'll see you back here next time. Drink responsibly as always. Peace out.